we said before we started recording this, it's only 2 more weeks and the play-in starts, right?
Yep.
So going into the playoffs, what player do you think has the most pressure this year in the playoffs, going into the playoffs, heading into the playoffs? If you had to pick one.
Just one?
Just one.
I might have to go with Jason Tatum.
Oof. Okay.
Only because they just have so much pressure on them right now. It's really funny because it never felt like, for instance, like when the Warriors were really good, it didn't really feel like they had a lot of pressure on them. But I think it's because they had already won, so it's like, okay, everything we're doing now is like icing on the cake versus like the Celtics. It's like you guys you've either been there or been close, but every time there's been some, like, you've been unclutched or you couldn't do this or you fell apart. So a lot of things that make people not believe in you. So now it's like, I feel like everyone feels like, okay, you guys have no excuse this year. You should for sure at least make the finals, if not win. And if you don't even get to the finals, that's going to be a huge indictment. And I feel like everyone on that team is going to fall on Tatum more than anyone else. And especially if, say this is the closest they ever get for the rest of his career. I just think that a lot of these other people like LeBron, Steph, like I think it makes sense to try and say like it would suck if they don't end up making it out of the play-in or whatever.
Their career's already set.
Yeah, they've already done so much. You're not about to get mad at somebody for not doing something at 35 or 40 like LeBron and Steph are, especially when they both have 4 rings each.
Yeah.
Versus these, the younger guys who are, well, Tatum is now like, he's still, of course,
26.
younger, but yeah, he's getting in that middle tier range of like, okay, this is when you're really supposed to be making your legacy. And now your legacy just stands of a bunch of kind of like flameouts.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking Tatum as well too, but I didn't want to choose the same one, so I'm gonna go with Dame. Dame just because he demanded out. Tatum's only 26. Dame is 33. He's about to be 34 in July.
Yeah.
And if we're talking statistics wise, this is probably one of his worst years as well too. Obviously, he's got to get still adjusted to playing with Giannis and the Bucks and whatnot as well too. Coaching changes midway through the season as well, so you can attribute a lot of things to that. But he don't got much longer. It's only going to get worse. So I think I would have to choose Dame as well too. That's the specific reason why they broke up the trio when they had Drew Holiday. They call him Dame Time. We want to see him in the crunch time. He's only been to the Western Conference Finals once, and when he was in the Western Conference Finals, although he lost to Golden State, they were up like double digits every game and blew it. So you got Giannis now. You don't have to be the number one option. We literally just have to have you run the show and help them boys close, and this is the best shot he has. Because before Doc Rivers, they were 34 and 13 or 30 and 13, and I think now they barely have a 500 record with Doc. So even though they're 10 games away from the first seed, I still feel like I give them just as a good shot to get to the finals as I do the Celtics.
Yeah, I think the only thing for me with Dame is, and I definitely understand people that do, but I just can't hold any of like the failures against him, because it's like, okay, we look at like Jason Tatum and all those things. Jason Tatum had great teams. Like no one would ever deny, like you had Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, all these other people that, on the teams prior. And then of course this year the team is amazing.
Yeah.
And Dame, the best he's had is CJ McCollum, who never has and never will make an all-star team. And then who else? Nurkic? Like, there literally was nobody else on those teams with Dame outside of his first 2 years, I think, is when they still had LaMarcus Aldridge and those other people. But that was his first 2 years. You're not saying, he should have carried them to the finals in those first 2 years. So I just think I feel like the Dame situation is tough because I can't see, LeBron, maybe one other person could have probably got those teams further, but we're talking about top 5 people, that would have done that.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else could have carried those teams any better than he did, because they fucking sucked. To be honest with you, bro, like all his teams really blew. Like that's why I can't even, like, people are like, yeah, he demanded out, but look at what this team looks like without him. That's all they did was trade him. And I guess they ended up trading Nurkic for Ayton, but like
they got Brogdon back.
And it's one of the worst teams in the league.
It's crazy because like looking at all the other bottom teams, the roster low key is better than theirs.
Than the Trailblazers?
Than the other trash teams.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, why y'all? Like, obviously, you're still supposed to be bad, but like, you would think they'd at least win like 20-some games.
None of them are defensive players at all. At all. Aiden's not. Brogdon's not. Scoot's not. Scoot's been playing awful. I still think.
Is definitely not.
Yeah, Simons is not. Literally,
Jeremy Grant, probably.
And he's not. Jeremy Grant, when he was in Denver and when he was in Philadelphia, was a defensive player.
He got the money.
But then he got to the Pistons, and then he's been there. He's like this offensive guy. He doesn't. The blocks and steals, all that is not the same anymore. Like, and it was clear he wasn't showing up when he was on the team with Dame.
Jeremy Grant, and I think Denver was going to pay him too, but he wanted to be a number one option, right, for you guys.
We paid him more. We definitely paid him more.
He basically would have been Aaron Gordon for them. I'm happy Aaron Gordon is in Denver.
Yeah, it's crazy because to me, I think Jeremy Grant is literally he's a role player.
Yeah,
but since he came to the Pistons. And then the same continued with the Trailblazers. He's been like miscast as I'm supposed to be this. No, like you were the best when you were averaging 10 points a game. And you were doing all this other stuff to help make your team better.
Yeah.
But now you have this tag on you that you're a lot better. I think that's also honestly why they might not have moved him is because they might not have felt like we're going to get the greatest value right now. So it's like we might as well at least keep him for a year, I guess, help with our younger players or some shit.
Yeah.
But
they're gonna have a good trade bait though next year, Portland.
Yeah. I think Brogdon, Grant. It depends. They might get rid of one of those guards.
I'm keeping Simons
over Shaden. Because now you got three guards.
6'5"?
I think so.
And how tall is Simons? Like 6'3"?
Yeah.
But he just drafted school.
And Simons is not he's a shooting guard in a point guard's height. Exactly.
Guard, yeah. I don't know. I know it's his rookie year, so I gotta just wait because I was about to wow and be like, I'll get rid of Scoop.
I think you just can't. You can't yet because rookie point guards by and large be having
and he has a guard
bad years, and
it's a guards driven league, so
and in the West is where all the best guards are.
Yeah, so I'll give him another year. Speaking of Dame, I think if the playoffs were to start today, they'd be playing their rivals, Miami Heat. Now that's kind of crazy. You come here, you want to go to the Heat, and they smack you guys. That'd be wild.
That would be very tough. I don't think they're gonna get smacked though. Mm-hmm. I really don't. I mean, health is everything. Mm-hmm. But if they are healthy, if they were healthy last year, I don't think they get smacked by the Heat. To be fair, they might have still lost, but I don't think they get smacked. And I think that there's so many things that we talk about they give up. I still think at the end of the day, this team is better with Dame than with Drew Holiday. Because Drew Holiday brings a lot defensively, but if you look at his shooting percentages and all their playoff runs, and the things that was hurting them was people weren't making shots. Yeah. And that's one thing that at least you feel like you can count on Dame to be doing. Yeah. And then especially, to be honest with you, on Miami they're not winning with offense 9 times out of 10. Like, they have some shooters, so they might get hot one or two of those games, but Miami's not putting up 120, 130 points.